Hardware 101 webinar. We're going to have a quick Q&A at the very end, so feel free to throw your questions into the chat box, and we'll be sure to answer them either during or after, depending on how many we're going to get. This will be recorded, and we will be sending it out afterwards. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. If you have any questions and they're pressing, feel free to throw them in there. We will try to get to them by the end, and if we don't mention it, just go ahead and send it in again, and we'll try and keep track of that. So first things first, what is Indiegogo? So you guys are all aware of what Indiegogo is, I'm assuming, but just as a quick summary, we are, of course, a crowdfunding site, and we like to think that we empower people to unite around ideas that matter to them and together make those ideas come to life. We're a very mission-driven company, so we really wanted to start it with our mission, so you guys were kind of aware of the promise that we were making to you. So what's great about Indiegogo? There's a lot of things about Indiegogo, I think, that kind of set us apart. The two main things that I think you're probably most aware of is that we have two different types of funding. We have both fixed funding and we have flexible funding. Fixed funding is one that you might be a little more aware of, and that means that if you don't hit 100% of your goal by the time the campaign ends, the funds will be returned to the backers. This is great if you can only create the product if you have 100% of the funds. Flexible funding is the other one that we use. It's also a really popular option. And flexible funding means that you can keep whatever funds you raise, regardless of whether or not you reach the goal. This is really great for campaigns where any percentage of the goal is going to help them reach and get a little closer to their end product. So we do provide options, and this is something to consider when you're really considering the campaign. So let's chat really quick first about what success in crowdfunding really looks like. I think some people assume that success means hitting 100% of the goal, and I don't think that's actually true. Obviously, the money is the key part of it, but success, I think, can be broken down in a few other things as well. With a crowdfunding campaign, you're getting a community, and you're able to actually build from the ground up in kind of a guerrilla way a community, and you're able to have a conversation with them in a way that most products don't really get the chance to. It's a very different sort of marketing to your users, and you're really able to get direct feedback and market validation from them at the same time. You can have polls while you're having the campaign. You can ask for sort of question and answer to vote on what colors they like, what features they like. So you can really get an idea of what things that your actual customer base really wants out of this product, so you can make sure to build to your community. Of course, real-time user feedback is really part of it. Like I mentioned, you can have polls running, and you can also monitor the comments section, or we also have, with the updates that you can post, you can also see reactions that people have. So you can really see how your product is coming across to your audience. So real quick, let's break down flexible funding into two different examples, so you can kind of see which one might be right for you. So with flexible funding here, we have the toothbrush by default, which is now known as the Quip. You might have actually seen ads for this all over your Facebook or the internet. I know I've been seeing a lot of this recently, I think taken off quite a bit. And when they originally tried to raise funds on Indiegogo, they didn't actually hit their goal. They got about 11,000 of their $60,000 goal. And while this wasn't enough to immediately bring the product to market, they were able to continue raising funds, and now they've been doing really well for themselves. I've seen a lot of ads, like I mentioned, and I've also seen them covered in a lot of different internets, like periodicals, BuzzFeed, the usual, which is kind of exciting. So if you know that no matter how much you get, you're going to be a little closer to your goal, flexible funding can be a really good option for you. A good example of fixed funding is one of our most popular campaigns, the Accent Wear cat ear headphones. You might have seen these out in the wild. They're really fun. They're these headphones that light up. And the ears are also speakers while they're also headphones. It's just a really fun little, piece of fashion accessory kind of thing. And so they were actually two girls out of Berkeley, and they were students, and they knew that they wouldn't be able to produce this unless they actually made $250,000. They didn't have the resources to just kind of source it. And so they actually ended up smashing through that goal, and they got over $3 million, which is really exciting. And now the product can be found in Brookstones everywhere, and Ariana Grande has sponsored the most recent round. So yeah, they're doing really big, exciting things now. So Indiegogo is a global platform, which is another really big thing about us. And so this means that we are available in over 223 countries. worldwide, so you never really know where your product might find their audience. And we raised funds in not just USD, but also euros, Australian dollars, Canadian dollars, and Great British pounds. So if you're based outside of the United States or even outside of these countries that I named over here, you can still continue raising funds with us, which is kind of a big deal. A good example is the Flow Hive. They are actually an Australian company, and they realized that their audience was going to be really, really global, so they decided to raise funds in US dollars instead of Australian dollars, even though they had the option. And they went on to become one of our biggest successes, and they raised over $12 million, and it was a father-son team, and they're doing great, and now they're shipping these portable beehives for amateur beekeepers everywhere, which is really cool. Now we have the Revel campaign, which actually was raising funds in euros because they knew that the majority of their audience was going to be based in France. When we made this webinar, they hadn't actually completed their campaign yet, so they were only at 20K. They actually ended up hitting their goal, which is really exciting. And so, yeah, in this case, raising funds in euros was a better idea than raising funds in dollars for them. The other great thing about us is, of course, we have a huge customer support team. We've got lots of dogs, so we're always very, very happy to help. You can reach out to us, and you should receive an answer within 24 hours from our support team. And they're all trained with crowdfunding and are happy to help out with any questions you might have, whether technical or strategy related. So quickly, I'm going to show you guys this video from one of our co-founders, Slava. He has a lot to say about crowdfunding, and I think there's a lot to learn here. And we're going to go over some of these points in more detail throughout the campaign. So I'm going to go ahead and mute myself so you guys can watch this video. Let me know if you're hearing some sort of echo or something, and we can make sure to address that.
I'm Slava Rubin, and I'm with Indiegogo. Crowdfunding is a flavor of crowdsourcing. So you can crowdsource anything. You can crowdsource ideas, you could crowdsource pictures, you can crowdsource light. Whatever it is that you're trying to get little bits of to make one big thing happen. So crowdfunding is the crowdsourcing of funds. The Statue of Liberty was actually crowdfunded. Joseph Pulitzer, who owned the New World, used the newspaper as his technology to send out to his local distribution network, his readers, to say, hey, we need to raise $100,000 to be able to fund the base for the Statue of Liberty. From the beginning, we really wanted to democratize funding, which is to allow anybody to raise money for absolutely anything. We're just trying to play our part in fixing what we feel is a massive gap in the market in terms of access to capital. Other players, whether it be VCs, banks, government institutions, or others, they have their application process. They are gatekeepers. Based on their criteria, they are deciding if you deserve money. If you don't fit through their gate, you're not going to get money, which is all fine and good. But where Indiegogo is completely different is there are no gatekeepers. Anybody has an opportunity to get anything funded. It's completely open. People want to know how to run a good Indiegogo campaign. And it really all comes down to three things. One, have a good pitch. Two, be proactive. And three, find an audience that cares. One myth is, oh, I just need to post on Indiegogo and millions of dollars just come rushing in. That's not what happens. You need to be working on it. You need to really own it. We are a multiplier. We help amplify what you're able to do and make you do better. One of the biggest failures of a campaign is if it becomes boring and old and no one cares anymore. So you want to keep it fresh. It's very easy to come out of the gate quick because you did a lot of work up front. There's a lot of excitement. If you hit 25% of your funding within the first week, you're 5 times more likely to hit your target. Chances are you're going to have a good finish because you have that deadline. The key is to keep the momentum going along the way in the middle. We know if you have 4 more people on your team, you'll raise 70% more money than if you have 1 person. If you do an update every 5 days or less, you'll raise 4 times more money than if you do an update every 20 days or more. We know that email is your number 1 tool for raising money, Facebook is number 2, and Twitter is number 3. We know if you have a video as part of your campaign, you'll raise 114% more money than if you don't have a video. You want to have 3 to 8 perks. A perk is some sort of product, service, or experience as barter in return for the different funding levels. On average, you'll hit your target on day 36 of a 47-day-long campaign. Indiegogo is really built on, amazing things that have happened by other entrepreneurs that have pushed the bar forward, which I think is super exciting because if you empower an entrepreneur to push forward, an entrepreneur can change the world.
Okay, great. So we should be back. Let me know if you guys can hear me or if you can't. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next section, which is cool. It looks like you guys can hear me. Awesome. We're gonna go ahead and go into the actual webinar now. So we're gonna break this down into a few different things. So we've got a section on goal and how to set an attainable one. We're also going to talk about crafting a compelling pitch, creating strategic perks, and also arguably the most important part, which is the promotion. So let's quickly get started. For setting an attainable goal, something I really want you guys to note here is a higher goal does not equal more money necessarily. And why do we say this? Let's take a look at this quick example. So out of these two you see here, on the right and the left, which of these are you more likely to contribute to? I can give it a quick second. Uh, cool, the one on the left, exactly, right. And why is that? It's because the bar is a little further along. Um, we have a little bit of a rule. We say it's 30% of your goal should be met within the first 48 hours. And the reason we say this is because it establishes a sense of trust really early on in the campaign. So when someone comes to your campaign page and they're coming organically and they're not someone that you've already spoken to or is aware of you or your product or your trustworthiness, seeing that 30% makes them more likely to immediately trust you and trust that this is a product that's going to get made. A quick and easy way to think about this is if you're walking past two restaurants and one looks pretty empty and the other one looks like it's bustling and it's full, which one do you think is more likely to be delicious and somewhere that you actually want to eat? It's the one that's actually full, right? You just, based off of very little information, you take what you can get and you make a decision. And that's exactly what this is. So we're going to move into our next section, which is crafting your compelling pitch. And Michelle's going to come in for this and she's going to chat with you guys. So give it up for Michelle.
Hey, everybody. We are going to talk about your pitch. Basically, what this means is, what this covers is your video and your story. So one thing you should be aware of is that launch campaigns with a pitch video raise 115% more than campaigns without a video. So it's super important to include a video on your campaign, even if it's not super duper professional, quote unquote. We've had very, very successful campaigners make videos on their iPhones and do very well. The most important things that you need to think about and remember as you're creating a video are these basic ideas. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you answer all of the basic questions, the who, what, where, when, why, how, within the first 30 seconds. We find that people don't spend a lot of time on a campaign page. Recently, I did some research into one of my campaigners' pages, and the average time spent on that particular page was 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And if you have a video, or if you have a 3-minute video up, it's people aren't going to stick around long enough to watch your whole video to get all of your information, which is why it's important to get all of that info out in the first 30 seconds. You want to keep the video under 2 minutes if you can. I had someone launch recently with a video. It was 1 minute and 50 seconds. It said everything it needed to say. It was very compelling. Again, you want to make sure you capture the attention of the audience very quickly and don't get them stuck on anything. Keep them moving through your page. So you want to tell your story. This is also important. So you don't just want to talk about the product. You also want to, briefly, stand in front of the camera as a campaign owner and talk about, why are you crowdfunding? Why is this important? Remember, crowdfunding isn't just about selling a product. It's a specific way of raising funds that keeps your audience or actually gets your audience engaged in your process of creating a product and getting it out into the world. And it's important to people who are contributing to know who you are. And if they know who you are, they feel like they're more a part of your story. So you really want to get up in front of that camera and talk to people directly. In terms of tone, it's important to be, casual and inviting, and again, keeping it personal. I've heard some people kind of use sort of semi-recording type voiceovers, and they just don't work. They don't sound personal. They just sound like, you know, uh, like a bad advertisement, basically. And you want to avoid that. It's nice if you can add a little humor, but you don't want to be too funny. You don't want to turn into some sort of comedy routine. You want people to get the information that they need about the product while being engaged at the same time. And at the end, ultimately, you want to include a strong call to action. Basically, what this means is, reminding people that they are helping you launch this product, make this product a reality. And sometimes it's good to just include, a message about what you're offering. So like say, hey, like if you contribute within the first few days, you're going to get a discount on this perk or something along those lines. So this is a campaign video example that we want to show you from the campaign Prepped Pack, which raised $2.9 million. It did very, very well. I think it really hits on all the major points of what to include in a pitch video. So I'm going to play it, and as I'm playing it, take a look, see what things you think are the most compelling, and type them into the chat box here so that we could talk a little bit about it afterwards.
Eating well makes you feel great, but it's not always easy, especially at lunchtime. That's why we created the Prep Pack, a revolutionary new take on the humble lunchbox, intelligently designed and beautifully crafted to make lunchtime more enjoyable. But Prep Pack is more than just a lunchbox. It's a new way of taking control of what you eat. We've created an innovative system of modular containers that can be arranged in different combinations to suit your changing daily needs. And there's an app designed alongside the Prep Pack that allows you to browse tasty meal plans, simply select one to make for the week ahead, output customized shopping lists, and follow recipes designed to fit the Prep Pack containers perfectly. Buying multiple containers allows you to batch cook in one sitting, saving you time during the week and ensuring you'll always have food prepared in advance. Grab your food for the day, put it in your pack, and you're ready to go. You'll have everything you need to create and enjoy delicious, Instagram-worthy lunches every day.
Prep Pack makes taking lunch to work better in every way. Compared to current storage options, which are often cheaply made and prone to leaking, the Prep Pack containers are a premium upgrade. Made from a breakthrough BPA-free material called Tritan, the boxes are dishwasher friendly and safe to freeze and microwave, so they're perfect for both storing leftovers and your freshly prepped meals. The containers are also completely leak-proof, so you can feel confident taking your lunch to work. With the Prepped app, we've done the hard work so you don't have to. We teamed up with chefs, nutritionists and foodies to design a vast range of prep-friendly meal plans and exciting recipes. You can search by a specific diet type, health goal or key ingredient, so you can find exactly the right meal plan for you. The app also automatically measures what you eat, giving you a more complete picture of your diet. But most importantly, Prep Pack delivers an unrivaled eating experience. From the integrated silicone eating mat to the smart magnetic cutlery, we've thought of every detail to ensure you'll always look forward to lunchtime.
We believe that Prep Pack can help you take back control of your lunch, be smarter, and live a healthier lifestyle.
We've worked incredibly hard to bring Prep Pack to life, but now we need your help to take the final step and get this fantastic new product into your hands.
So please back us and kickstart your healthier lifestyle today.
Awesome. Okay, great. You guys wrote a lot of really great comments. So what did you find compelling? So what I see here, there's been a lot of comments about that it was filmed very well. True, it was beautifully shot. Let's see, I'm trying to go back to see some of these comments. Yeah, the simplicity of the idea, rich colors, clear information, very, very important. Again, great images, showcases the product and shows how to use it, very, very important. Yeah, so you guys really got some of the really great things that Prep Pack did. I'm going to go through and just tell you some of the things I personally think they did very well. So within the first 30 seconds, this product function is extraordinarily clear. You know immediately what this is, how it would function in your daily life. There's no question. Another thing, the team appears in the video and speaks directly to the audience. So from the beginning, you already feel like you're a part of this project, because the team is talking to you, and that's very, very compelling. They offer many use cases throughout the video. What that means is they show the product being used by many people in many different settings, so that as an audience member, I can relate to these different these little scenarios that I'm watching, and I can see myself using this product and how it would benefit my life. Again, you all noticed that the images were really beautiful. They talked about similar products and why this particular product is better. Also very, very important. They showed all the components of the product. So they didn't just show the actual lunchbox and the Tupperware inside, but they also showed the app and how people would use that with their iPad. The tone was very casual, very engaging. They included a strong call to action at the end. And in their story, they talked about why they're crowdfunding. And these are all extremely important things to consider including when you're creating a video. Similarly, the campaign story is structured a lot like the video, except with text, basically, text and images. So the way I view it, when a person's looking at a campaign page, what I tell my campaigners is, basically between the title, the image, and the first few inches of the story, you want people to at least be interested enough to want to read more. And so it's very, very valuable real estate, and you need to plan carefully. And so in terms of the actual story itself, that's what I want to focus on. We highly recommend starting with a branded header and a strong image of the product. So if you have any kind of branding, you want to use that as a way to just introduce the product. And then you want to follow that up with a very strong image of the product, a really nice, strong, close-up image of the product. And directly after that, we recommend adding just a quick 2 to 3 sentence introduction. Very, very straightforward. What is this product? What does it do? Why is it important? Really, really clear. And then throughout, now just kind of going a little bit further, you want to generally use images, charts, and graphics as much as possible. Big, long chunks of text generally will get just totally passed over. And so you want to try to visually, you want to basically take all the information that you have and present it as visually as you can. So again, images, charts, graphics, as much as you possibly can. You want to avoid using rendered product images. So if you're creating a product and in your prototype stage and you don't have an actual product yet, of course you should use your prototype to show the audience what you have. But if you do have an actual product, you want to get that out there and you want to show people what you're doing as much as possible. Often rendered images will create distrust with your audience because they're not going to feel like they have proof or evidence that you can take it to the next stage. You want to provide in the story. You want to provide use cases for how the customer will interact with your product. I usually tell people to create at least 3 separate use cases, more if you can, but 3 at least. Just showing the product in different situations, how people can interact with this product in different situations. Again, this makes the audience be able to relate to the product and have them understand how they can use it in their life. And then be authentic and transparent about where you are in the process and how you and your team got there. So, if you're just getting this thing started, you don't want to try to make it seem like you're further along than you are. That's just going to create mistrust, and it's going to hurt you down the line. The more honest and upfront you can be about where you are, the more likely people will trust you and stick with you through the process. If this is a product they believe in, if this is something that they like, and if they trust you, they will stick with you. So those are just some basic important things to think through. And so this is an example. This is a Canary campaign that did very well, raised $1.9 million. And if you look at the middle and the right column, basically these are screenshots of their campaign page taken from the top through the middle. So Meat Canary was at the very top, and directly underneath that was an image of the product, a close-up image, and the very, very simple line that they wrote was the world's first smart home security device for everyone. It's extremely, to the point, clear. You know exactly what this product does immediately. It gets into a little bit more detail, and then it shows another image of the product, and then it goes into, again, a little bit more detail. These aren't huge blocks of text. This is just, small bits of information. And then it goes right into an infographic, which contains features. So as a consumer, I can read this and understand, okay, this is what the product looks like, this is what it does, and here are some main things that it's capable of. Oh, interesting. And then the next thing I see is a use case, and it shows a person, on their phone, obviously interacting with this security system while they're not at home. So it shows me something that I can relate to. And this was just the very top of their page, and this is kind of a general structure we recommend following. And so these are just some images. We recommend as much as possible to add images to your page. You want to add images of your product, of the production process. Again, as much as possible, you want to be transparent with your audience. Have them see where you are in the process. Images of your team are really important. And these are another variety of infographics that you can add. On the bottom left, there's a product comparison chart. These are really effective in being able to show your audience how your product is differentiated from other products that do similar things on the market, and how to show them immediately, look, our product can do all of this stuff, whereas these others can't. And it's a quick way to show them that your product is superior. On the top right, we have, this is from the FlowHive campaign. What they did was they created this great graphic showing all the components of everything that's inside. Another great thing to do, transparency. And then on the bottom right is a pie chart, which shows where's the money going. Anyone who contributes to your campaign is going to want to know where is their dollar going to go, and including clarity around that. Again, it creates trust with your backers. It's really important. So now we're going to move into some perk information. I'm going to pass it back to Aditi.
Hello again, everyone. So like Michelle mentioned, we're going to talk a little bit about perks right now. And perks, I think, are one of the really recognizable aspects about crowdfunding. On our page, it's on the right-hand side of the campaign, and it's where backers can select a product that they might be interested in, which helps push you towards your goal and gets them something that they want. So let's try and figure out how to get people what they want while pushing you to your goal. So something to note with pricing on your perks, what you really want to do is you want to focus obviously on the product that you're raising money for. Sometimes we'll see people have, a t-shirt perk or a thank you on their website perk, or, some of these small things that really take away from the product. And with a hardware campaign or a technology campaign, we just don't find that these actually work. People aren't usually there for, a cool logo on a t-shirt. They're often there to get their hands on a product that doesn't exist yet and that they're really excited about. So you want to make sure that the focus is on the product. We find that perks between $99 and $199, that is a really popular price point. So if you can get your perk to fit somewhere in there, that's really where we would aim. This 20% rule that we mentioned over here, this is really just, so we suggest having an early bird perk, which is something that you would offer for just a limited time, maybe 2 or 3 days, or either that or a limited number of options, so maybe 100 or 200 of them to begin with. And you would price this at 20% less than what you plan on offering the perk for on the page while the campaign is running. That, of course, is different than the MSRP, which is going to be the sale price. But yeah, so you have 3 different prices, the MSRP, the price on the campaign page, and then the early bird price, which is about 20% less. And this is the price that we find that makes it really, really enticing for people. And of course, this final point is ending your price point with an odd number. This is kind of just like marketing 101. People are more likely to want to purchase if it's, 99 cents versus $1, right? So kind of keep stuff like that in mind. What successful campaigns avoid? So something here is you really want to understand your limits and your production plans. So if you plan on being able to produce this by the end of December, don't tell your backers that you're going to have it to them by June. All this does is make people angry around June when they don't get their products, and then they start getting upset and they start feeling like maybe you lied to them or maybe you tried to get their money early. And you don't really want to do this. You've spent a lot of time creating a community that's really excited about the product that you're pushing out. And likely you will want to be a product and a company that's around for much longer than these 60 days or 30 days, however long you're going to have the campaign. So you want to be sure to think ahead. So what this means is don't underprice your perks. If you need $100 in order to produce this, you don't want to be pricing it at $30 just so you can get people to buy it. That's not going to mean that you can produce the product. So make sure you actually price it at where you can make enough money off of this to produce and also for yourself. Don't overpromise, like I mentioned. Don't say you can get it in June when you're only going to be able to produce it by December. You want to stay in constant communication with your backers. You want to let them know how production is going. People really like being involved in this process. That's why they get involved in crowdfunding often in the first place. These are often like product geeks, and so they like to see what's going on behind the scenes. And so let them know we're in production now, we're in this, we're in that. Keep them in the loop for what's going on. And this final point is don't offer all your perks at once. When you do that, you plateau faster. You get everything out there. There's no real excitement to come. A good campaign keeps the page going throughout the entire 30 days or however long you're raising funds for. So you can have a couple perks that you keep under wraps that you release maybe 2 weeks into the campaign. And this brings people that have already contributed to your campaign back for more because they're like, oh, this is really exciting. Now I have an add-on that I can get that I didn't expect that I was able to have earlier on, and just keeps things fresh on the page. So something here that I wanted to chat about is secret perks. Secret perks are a relatively new feature that we offer. To explain it really simply, they are just available for certain individuals with a very unique link for each perk, and then you can distribute this to different channels. This is really helpful for your early supporters. You can email them out this link and you can say like, hey, only you guys are getting it for this price. This is really secret. Don't share this with anyone else. It gets them really excited and it feels like they're in the know, right? And the same thing goes for bloggers. Out to bloggers or influencers with the product and you're trying to get them to market it to their individual audiences, you can provide each blogger with a specific link for their audiences. So the bloggers kind of have that same idea that they're in the know and that they're providing something for their communities that they wouldn't otherwise be able to get. Event attendees is also a really great one if you happen to have a launch party or if you happen to have events where you're demonstrating the product. People that are there can then sign up and you can send them a link later on for a discounted version of the perk for attending. And of course, flash sales as the campaign is going and as it plateaus, which many campaigns do after a couple weeks, you can have a flash sale. And so you suddenly say, hey, happy Columbus Day, everyone. Now we've got lots of these products on sale. Get them while they're hot. This will only be like a one-day thing. Columbus Day is maybe, but next I wanted to chat really quick about delivering on your promises. Now, I kind of mentioned this briefly earlier about how you want to make sure your community is in the know for where you are and what you're doing with the product. You want to factor in your shipping costs and you want to think about shipping and fulfillment from way before you actually start the campaign. This picture on the right is an actual picture from a campaigner who had their living room just full of boxes, and this was, I think, one of many rooms that just had boxes on boxes and boxes. When you're a hardware campaigner, oftentimes your life becomes this campaign, and you want to make sure to plan for that. So if you're planning on shipping internationally, make sure know how much that's going to cost. Like I mentioned, we are a global platform, and so you don't really know where it's going to resonate. So you want to make sure to calculate for that. You can, in the perk itself, say, for the US, it's going to be $10 shipping. For outside of the US, it's going to be 20 or something, however much it is. And it'll charge differently for each backer. So that's just something to know. Like I said, you want to set expectations for delivery. You want to be really honest. You want to be upfront. You want to let people know what they're getting into. Deliver on time and over communicate with your backers. I cannot really stress this enough. We have an update feature, which I really, really recommend you use both throughout the campaign and after the campaign is over. You can continue using that and letting people know that update's going to be emailed to everyone that contributed or followed the campaign, and they can understand where you are and what's going on. If you have any delays, let them know. People will be understanding. but they are less likely to be understanding if 2 days before you promised them that they were going to get the perk, you then say, hey, sorry guys, we had a production delay 2 months ago, or we just now found out. That starts to seem like maybe you're hiding something, and you really want to get ahead of that while you can. So over communicate, we can't stress that enough. People will be understanding. And of course, this last one is Arrow and Riverwood Solutions. At Indiegogo, we've got a lot of really great partnerships that campaigners really benefit from when they're part of our platform. And Arrow and Riverwood, I think, are two of the biggest ones. Arrow helps you assess the feasibility of your product, and you'll get a stamp on the page that says, this is a product that can be made, and we've looked at the plans, and this makes sense, which is really helpful to kind of help establish trust. And Riverwood Solutions is going to help you with the engineering, the shipping, the production, the actual nitty-gritty of product creation. And this can be really helpful when you're, a little unsure, especially if your product ends up resonating with more people than you expected, or maybe even fewer people. You can kind of tap into this network, and they can really help you out with that, and make sure that your product gets delivered as you promised. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Michelle, and she's going to talk about the promotion, which is again really important. So be sure to pay attention.
Hello. Okay, promotion. So this is huge. Promotion is going to be one of the most important things to running a successful campaign, and a lot of this is going to happen before you even launch. So we're gonna talk about it. We highly recommend planning your campaign launch at least a month before, or in my opinion, 3 to 6 months if you can. What you want to do is you want to develop an audience during this period of time who are ready to contribute to your campaign as soon as you launch on day one, because you want to launch as strongly as possible, because that is going to be the thing that will drive your momentum throughout your campaign and continue to help you to succeed. So what should you be planning during this period of time, during your pre-launch phase? You want to think about what community you're going to be promoting your campaign to, what type of content you want to be using to spread the word, and what method of communication you'll be using to promote the campaign. So what do we mean by community? So there's many different aspects to community. There's your campaign team, right? So there's you and the folks who are going to help you run the campaign, people who are like literally on your Indiegogo campaign listed as team members. There's your network, which are, family, friends, people who are, maybe on your LinkedIn account and that kind of thing. You've got your project supporters. Now, those are the folks who are going to be contributing to your campaign. Those are your backers, people who are interested in the outcome of your campaign. And then there's relevant groups, communities that share a common interest with your project. Maybe people who haven't backed you, but people who are kind of in that world. For example, Prepped Pack, it's a food-related campaign. Maybe, people who are generally interested in food products who didn't contribute, but people who are in that foodie world would be a relevant group. So you want to think about, who are these different groups? Each one of these groups you're going to want to target differently. So your campaign team, those people who are a part of your intimate circle, you want to get commitments from them. You want verbal commitments from them. Hey, what are you interested in contributing on day one? Are you interested in contributing on day one? So you want to just have conversations. Then there's your network, right? How do you want to reach out to them? Generally, those are people that you could send personal, individual emails to. What I usually tell people is sit down, make a list of people in this network, and start to write personal emails to them. Again, make it personal. Don't send a mass email to your family or your friends or people on LinkedIn. You want to really make it personal. Project supporters are going to be backers. These are people who you don't necessarily know yet. These are people in the world who have an interest in your product, but you just haven't made contact with them. So these are the folks that I want to focus on as we move ahead, because this is the group that's really going to be the group that gets you launched successfully. And so in order to launch successfully, we recommend raising 30% of your funds within the first 48 hours. It's a really important statistic. So 30% of your funds within the first 48 hours. So you're going to do that from your, from your campaign team and from your personal network. Those are going to be people contributing, but you're going to need project supporters to get on board. This is how you're going to do it. One of the ways we find most successful is to build a really strong email list, an audience who's invested before you even launch. So there's a lot of ways to do this, but one really successful way is to create a landing page. You could do this on WordPress or any other simple web creation tool. Just create a landing page where you can capture email addresses. What you want to do on the landing page, you can see this example on the right. It's very, very simple. It's got an image of the product. It has, a simple headline, neat pillow, and then it's got like a little tagline saying a little bit about the product, and then a place for you to, for people to put their email address. Usually you want to create a strong call to action saying something like, submit your email address for 30% off on launch day, or something along those lines, so that people feel motivated to actually give you their email address. So yeah, having a strong call to action is very, very important. Offering a discount, like I just said, it's a great way to inspire people to give you their information. You could run a referral contest. This is one way to get more emails, by having people refer their friends, and if they refer X number of friends, then they'll get some specific discount, or maybe even a free item. That's also very important for people. And then this is a really great time where you can A/B test messaging and imagery. So if you're doing this for 3 months, you could spend 2 weeks with one specific set of messaging and one specific image, and then after 2 weeks switch it out, and then evaluate it, which performed better. And it's a great opportunity for you to take that messaging and then use that in your Indiegogo campaign, because you already know that it works. So building an email list is vital, and you're going to use this later. We'll get into that a little bit. So methods of promotion. I focused on email, building an email list, because email brings in 20% more funding than any other source. So if you build that email list, you're starting with an advantage, and I highly recommend it. Contributions from direct email are 34% higher than other forms. So you don't want to skimp on this email business. It's huge. It's huge. So best practices. Just pulling back 1 second. What I recommend doing is, once you develop an email list of people, you want to stay in touch with them. So, for example, if I was planning to launch on July 1st, and I had an email list, I might send them an email the first week of June to say, hey, get ready, I'm going to launch on July 1st, and anyone who contributes on this date is going to get 30% off, something along those lines. And then a week before I launch, I'm going to send them another email letting them know, hey, we're going to launch in a week. And then the day of launch, I'm going to send them another email saying, hey, we're launched, and then give them the link to my campaign. So best practices around this. You want to make your subject line count. You want to make sure you're getting directly to the point in the subject, so that they know exactly what this email is. People receive tons of junk email every day, so you want to make sure you really start strong. Keep your message short and to the point. People don't want to read anything. Keep it really, really, really simple. Have a strong call to action. Again, what I mentioned about offering a discount, that's a strong call to action. Include an image of your product. Again, keep it personal if you can. And like I just mentioned, you want to email in advance of launch. And so this is an example from the Kinza campaign. I think this is a beautiful email, and this is what they used on the day of their launch. Very, very simple. It's got their branded header. Keep your family healthy at the touch of a button. Again, simple. This is what the product does. It shows the product. It gives you some basic information. And then their call to action: take advantage of this 1-day 50% off discount exclusively on Indiegogo. Shows you what you'll be saving. It's $29.99. Get it now. Very, very, very straightforward. This is what you want to think about for your launch day email. You want to keep it really, really simple. So social media is another method of raising funds. 22% of a campaign's raised funds come from social media, and over 50% of Indiegogo's website traffic comes from social media sites. So, you want to make sure you're also paying attention to social media. So best practices around social media. You want to craft shareable content. What that means is, you don't want to just pepper your social media sites with links to your Indiegogo campaign, because that's not going to get you any pledges. No one's going to back you that way. But you want to create content that people are engaged by, interested in, whether it's articles, information, videos, whatever it is, but something that is actually interesting to your audience, so that they're inspired to actually share it with their audiences, and then that's how things spread. That's how information gets out there. So you want to use compelling images and short videos. Keep the videos short. You don't need a video. You don't need a video more than 30 seconds long. Keep it short. Again, you want to keep your content relevant to your audience and current events, and be responsive. So if people are responding to your post, you want to reply to them. You want to continuously interact with your audience, because that keeps them engaged. This is an example that the Cuddle and Kind campaign posted. This is a great shareable content example. Cuddle and Kind, they made these dolls, and this post isn't a post saying, hey, come contribute to our campaign and buy a doll. That's not what they said. Instead, they crafted it around this concept of World Kindness Day, and they included this really sweet picture of a young girl with these dolls. And this is the kind of content that a person would want to share with their audience, because it's sweet, it's cute, it shows the product. This is the kind of thing you want to think about when you're posting on social media. And I'm sure you're wondering, beyond creating a landing page, getting contributions from from social media, email, etc. How do you gain contributions from other people that you don't know? Well, you want to make sure that you engage the press and news outlets. So what you could do is you could draft a one-page press release that you could send to relevant publications. Start small and local. And you want to make sure you do this, once you already have raised a certain amount of money. Like I said, if you want to raise 30% within the first 48 hours. If you send a press release and someone checks out your campaign and you haven't raised anything, that's not newsworthy. No one's going to write about that. But if you see that you've already raised a certain amount of funds, it will look good. It will inspire people to want to write about it. Blogs are another great way. So you can contact bloggers who share your target audience, and offering them a test unit to try is a great way to get word spread about your product. And then influencers, people in your network who have large communities. You want to ask them, hey, will you spread the word about my campaign? Motobag is just one example of a campaign that really leveraged press releases and the news. They launched, and it got word got spread, and they really benefited because of PR, basically. So it's just one example of you can launch your campaign, and you can have a strong audience, but if you do get caught by a news outlet, it could definitely take things to the next level. As you can see, their goal was $50,000. They raised over $500,000. So that's just kind of a general framework around promotion. I just want to talk a little bit about some of the Indiegogo tools that we have. When you launch your campaign, you'll have access to a dashboard. That'll give you access to track referrals, view your campaign traffic, and manage perk fulfillment. As you can see, this is referral data, and it also shows you the sources that your traffic is coming from. You also have access to an order management system, which is very powerful. You can download a CSV of all of your backers, and you can use that data for special promotions by segmenting your email list. You can filter it based on the perk someone has claimed. So if you want to try to upsell a little bit, you can find everyone who claimed one perk and then offer those people a secret perk for some special add-on. You could also manage your refunds on this page. Finally, just want to a little plug for updates. Updates are really important. We recommend updating your campaign twice a week. And as you can see here, campaigns that post regular updates raise 286% more than campaigns that don't. And people want to know what's going on with you. They want to know that you don't go dark. They want to know everything that's happening. Even if there's a delay, they want to know about it. It'll make them trust you more, basically. Remember, crowdfunding is not just about selling products. It's about engaging people and having them be a part of your story. And by continuing to update them, they feel like they're a part of your story. It's really important. Your audience will only stay engaged if you continue to update them. So this says post once a week. We say once or twice a week. you want to announce, you can use updates to announce new perks and campaign milestones. You can show fulfillment progress. As you can see, you can, take pictures of fulfillment, show them what's going on. Encourage participation. Ask people to give feedback on, are they happy with the perks you're offering? Do they want to see something new? Be sure not to spam them. You don't want to overdo it. So that is the webinar. That's basically the info. We're going to open it up. Unfortunately, we went a little lost. We're only going to have a few minutes for questions, but yeah, if you, I think we have a few questions that we want to try to answer here. One second. Okay, so someone asked a question earlier that if they need $300,000, should they set the goal? Should they set the goal at 300,000 or lower? Well, I highly recommend people to set their goal lower. I mean, it's a little complicated. I would, if you absolutely need $300,000 and without $300,000 you cannot move forward, then you don't want to set the goal lower than 300,000, right? Because you don't want to like end up with $100,000 of people's money and then you can't do anything with it. That's not good. But if you're in a situation where you can make something happen for 100,000, you'd like 300, but you can make something happen for 100,000, I would absolutely put the lower number down. And the reason is simply that Aditi shared earlier, with an example of if you set a lower goal, and if I set a $100,000 goal and I raise 50,000, it looks like I raised 50% of my goal, which looks very good. If I set a goal of 300,000 and I raise 50,000, it doesn't look so good. And the better it will look to an audience, the more likely more people will contribute because they will trust that you can actually meet your goal. Also, please keep in mind that people who meet their goals often exceed them. In fact, very, very frequently they exceed them. So just because you set a goal at 100,000 doesn't mean you can't reach 300,000. You saw that Motobag example I just gave you. It set a goal of 50,000, it raised 500,000. So setting a lower goal does not necessarily mean you can't reach your higher goal.
I'm seeing a couple questions here that are a little more technical in nature about raising funds outside of the U.S., bank accounts, things like this. These are things that our happiness team will be more than happy to answer on a one-off basis. And I think it's a little better served doing it that way since it doesn't necessarily directly apply to everyone. So this final link that we have here, www.indiegogo.com/contact, please feel free to reach out to the team there. They are more than happy to help, and they know everything that we do. So they'll be able to assist you with any questions you might have. Feel free to mention that you are a part of the webinar, and that way they'll kind of know where you're actually coming from. And yeah, sorry, there's that.
Cool.
Let's see if we can find a few more questions before our time is up.
Okay. So there was a question: will flash sales upset backers who already claimed a perk? Yeah, this is a touchy one. So if you offer your product at a lower price than people who have already backed you and claimed it at a higher price, and they see that, yeah, they will likely be upset. Yeah, for sure. But this is why we recommend segmenting your audience and using secret perks. So for example, if you've got an email list and you can download your CSV from the Indiegogo dashboard, and you could see who claimed all of your perks. And if you want to offer a perk at a lower price, all you need to do is basically create a secret perk and make sure that the email list that you're sending your link out to doesn't include any of the backers who have already claimed that perk. So basically, you're keeping the perk is not going to appear on your campaign page. It's only going to appear to the people that you sent the link to. So folks who have already clicked won't see that you have sold this at a lower price. That's generally the way we recommend doing it.
A quick thing to note, before we end the webinar, it looks like our time is unfortunately up. We will be sending out a recording of this webinar. I just mentioned this in the comment section, but you will be receiving that. It will have a link so you can watch it over and over again and learn everything you need to learn. It'll also have a link to a survey, which we would really appreciate if you guys would fill out so we can know what else to create webinars around for you in the community. And you can also tell us which sections you found really helpful or not helpful, what we might have gone on a little too long or too short about. Feel free to be really brutally honest with us. We can take it. We just want to make sure that we're crafting content that is really helpful to you guys. All right. Well, thank you so much. I love that you guys were also responsive in the comment section. This is all wonderful to see. Thanks so much, and feel free to look out for an email from us. We will have a second webinar next month. We usually have these on the second Tuesday of the month. So the next webinar is going to be really exciting. It's going to be some slightly different material. We're going to be focusing more on specifically the pitch and how to craft a really good one. So keep an eye out for an email from us on that. All right.
Awesome.
Take care, guys.
Bye.